Kim, hello, Tanse Anin. Thank you so much for joining us here on APTN InFocus. Now, before we begin, would you like to introduce yourself for our audience?
Hi, Danse Kim Halcrow Nisnigasun. Kinasel sitik ni nosje. Gila Manitoba, Newigan Megots, Tatoscano ta Gillam School. Kiskanoma kawasak inanimawin o grades nursery to grade 6. Sagegats depagok aski uta Tatoscan. Kiskanoma kawasak inanimawin.
Well, that's so great to hear, Kim, and we'll start with you teaching Cree. I'd love to know how long have you been teaching Cree for?
This is my 7th year teaching up here in Gillam, Manitoba. So our school is very diverse, and I started with grades 2 to 8, and it was a little hard for 7 and 8s because I'm not really I don't have a degree in education, but I do speak the language because on my resume I wrote speak Cree, right? And then when the job came about, I went as an interview for education assistant. I have my certificate on that. I was an educating assistant for almost 13 years. And then coming up here, the lady that I'm thankful to this day that basically handed me the job, and ever since that, I've been teaching here, and it's been amazing, and I love it every day. And like I said, it's my 7th year, and so it's been quite a journey. But in between that, I've been approached to do beginners Cree with Indigenous languages of Manitoba and other organizations that I do beginners Cree. So I feel that's being a language keeper, what I was told, and so it's rewarding to at the end of classes, and I hear them individually speaking and introduction, which is very important to do in language, as you could hear what I did in the beginning.
So, why is it so important that we are teaching Cree and we are bringing these languages not back to life, but we're bringing them more to the mainstream, and we're getting more people to learn these languages? Why is that so important, Kim?
I asked my students that at the beginning of the classes that I do, and the majority of them they say it's because their grandparents or parents went to residential school, and they said that they weren't allowed to share because of what happened, and the students that I have said to that they're adopted, they knew that they were Indigenous and somehow they wanted to learn their language. And I know it's hard to begin at first. It was very sensitive, and once we started talking and got them in that environment of all of us are in the same page, wanting to learn the language no matter what, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so it was hard at first, and I told them, I said, you know what, I'm there too, because my parents and grandparents did go to residential school, and I have my father living with me, and we do speak. He speaks it very fluently, but there's times where I have a hard time speaking it back, but I do understand what he's saying, and I try my best to answer back as much as I could. And as for my family, they know a little bit here and there. There's that connection that you need to find to revitalize that language around. You have to be around that environment to really wanting to learn the language.
Mm-hmm. And Kim, is there a best way to teach Cree? I don't know if there is. I mean, some people are visual learners, some are others are verbal. Is there a best way that you found in your 7 years teaching that maybe some students pick up on, or I imagine everybody is a little different too, right?
Oh yeah, at the beginning I was doing little verb words like astam, come here, ape, sit, pitige, come in. And we started building those words up And me, I love to sing. I do singing in Cree, because once we have that song, I break it up into lessons, and it just goes on from there. Nina is I, Gina is you. Okay, so it goes like this. Dance, 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 Gina. Mona nato, mona nato, mona nato, Nina. Gina ma, dance, Gina. Mona nato, mona nato, mona nato, nista. So from there on, I would point to you. What would you be in Cree? You is Gina, and me is Nina. And dance, everybody knows dance, hello. And we've added dance, Gina, how are you? Mona nato is the reply of, I'm okay, I'm fine.
Well, I think I just got a little mini lesson in Cree, and I'll have to maybe join your class so I can sing along with you one day. But I think you might have touched on this just a little bit a couple questions ago. But what does it mean to you, Kim, to be able to speak Cree and to be able to teach Cree? What does that mean to you?
Well, our language is very descriptive, and it being very descriptive, it comes from your heart. And teaching a word here and there, it means a lot. Like what I just did with the song, that means a lot to me because it opens a lot of dialogue. And not only that, like what has happened in the past, I feel I'm obligated, like I'm important, I'm a language keeper, that I need to keep this going, because like this is my 7th year teaching the language, and it has to start from somewhere. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then not only that, today, like it's hard work today to revitalize the language, because now me growing up learning the language, it was around me. It was always spoken. I wasn't given a book or a paper. I think that's why sometimes I still have a hard time writing and reading, but I'm teaching that myself. I could speak it if somebody tells me that what I need to know and learn, because growing up, that's what my parents spoke to me all the time in the language.
Kim, what made you wanna teach Cree? What made you want to teach Cree?
This is kind of a sensitive question, because I did not realize how our language was so close to being not taught or spoken because of residential school, and that what has happened to our parents and great grandparents. We still have the mother tongue, and we need to revitalize and revive the language that way. And I think that's why it's very important to me, because I still have it, and I still have the opportunity here where I am and my family to continue on with the language.
Well, that's a great answer, Kim, and we really appreciate you coming on InFocus. Again, I will have to maybe check out one of your classes, and maybe you can give me a lesson or two, and I can start with the basics. But thank you so much for joining us, Chimigwich, for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Samaga.